Hey bro, do you think I need a haircut?
What are you talking about? You should just let it grow, bro.
I recommend a mullet. Mullet? Do not ever say mullet around me. Ever.
Hello humans and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. That's right, the video game show that is not hosted by an annoying e-beggar. There is no Patreon, no super chats. That's right, we just talk about the games we love and how fun it is to hoard them. Collect them. Now, with that said, let's get ready for the show. On today's episode, this show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello humans and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. How did I fall in love with my Atari again? In the middle of the video game crash? That's right, it was a bad mullet haircut. Guys, back in the day, I didn't look like old man Logan here, which is my natural look, by the way. It was a summer of high school, my sophomore year. And we had gotten back, we were ready for school, you know, everything was going great. My hair was looking awesome. At that point, I have more of the George Michael, Simon Le Bon look going on. But I wanted to try something different. I wanted to be adventurous. And you see, friends, something happened when MTV came into our lives with my friends. Our fashion lives were never the same again. We saw one band that forever changed our fashion choices. And I mean forever. And that band was the one and only Duran Duran. That's right, guys. We saw that video. Please tell me now. Is there something I should know? I guess the song is called Is There Something I Should Know? Please tell me now. Regardless, guys, when we saw them dressed the way they were, wow, let me put this into context. Okay, we lived in East Los Angeles at the time, and the fashion sense of my Hispanic brethren was a little bit different than ours. And because of that, they treated us differently. A lot differently, right? We were never in the same wave as them. We weren't part of that generation. We were into video games, we were into rock and roll. While they were doing their oldies gangster thing, we were doing Fast Times at Ridgemont High. We were just in different worlds. And all this was occurring in parallel universes in Los Angeles, which is something to see, right? And still occurs in many parts of the country today, probably. Regardless, that's the world that we used to live in back then. And what had happened is, I couldn't leave well enough alone. You know, I was the kind of guy that would walk on the mirror, and I've always had a head of hair on me. But back then, I was just a bit more conceited. I would say things like, you know, I'd walk in front of the mirror, look at my hair, and go, why fuck with perfection? Pardon my French, but those are the kinds of things I would say. I was really full of myself as a young lad, especially after my first older girlfriend, my first experiences, and I was quite the charmer at school, I thought anyway. Regardless, me and my group of friends were always known as the fashionable kids, right? We always had the latest fashions. We all had jobs, you know, menial jobs, and we would work all week so we could afford these trendy threads that nobody else was wearing, you know, and a lot of them were, you know, the type of stuff that Duran Duran wore. We would go out to Melrose and try to find this stuff, things that people in our neighborhood wouldn't do. So you can imagine the looks we got from the rest of the neighborhood, because they're still in vato mode, you know what I mean? Anyway, so I get this idea, right? Like I wasn't satisfied with my hair. I wanted to get a little bit spiky look on top. My hair was a little bit longer, and you know, and I just wanted a different look. You know, it come in with the school year. The beard was starting to grow in. You know, I'm looking firme, and you know, I'm just thinking this is gonna be it, right? Like when I do this, it's gonna be awesome. So my friend had got a haircut, and I was like, dude, just like that, the top just like that, and I'd be I'd be looking amazing. Well, friends, we go to the barber that he went to, and the barber's like, hey, this haircut is $25. Guys, $25 back then was a lot of money. It was like a week's pay for me. So I was like, whoa. Back then, $11 was a lot for a haircut, you know, and I was like, you know, $11, but $25, geez. But this guy really knew what he was doing, but I decided against it because of my budget. But my friend said, hey, I know these guys. These guys, they know how to take, you know, cut hair, yada, yada, yada. So he convinced us. So we go down to this barber shop, right? And there's this one guy that knows how to cut hair, and and then there's two other guys there, right? So the one guy that really knows how to cut hair fashionably, like 80s type hair, is busy with my friend. And then the other two guys are sitting there like just mean mugging us, you know, like, hey, it's time to cut your hair. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna wait for him. And then the manager comes out and he's like, we don't do that here. Which is complete bullshit, right? But we're kids, you know. And we don't know any better. We're like, okay, you know, so we go in there and this old man cuts my hair. And let's just say the results were not what I expected. My flat top looked exactly like this. So as soon as I got done, man, I felt like crying. I literally felt like crying. I was so pissed off. And, you know, and I'm like, you know, losing my shit. And the guys were like, well, you better pay us. We're going to beat the shit out of you. So, of course, we had to pay, you know. I had to pay. And I didn't want to show my face at school, man. I went in the first day, and it was like, what happened? Holy shit, what happened to you, man? Like, everybody's concerned, like if I had an illness, like, like if I broke my hand, something, you know? It was, holy fuck, man, it was terrible, right? You know, one of the reasons I started my channel is because a lot of people have great experiences with video games, and they have all these memories of great times, and I don't. I played a lot of video games when, like, really shitty, fucked up stuff happened to me. So it was a video game crash, and man, and I didn't want to go out, right? I stayed home from school for 2 days until I figured out what the hell to do. Luckily, this grows out of my head like there's no tomorrow, right? So it only took a couple of weeks for me to look semi-normal. But in the meantime, what I did is I went back to my closet, and for some reason I couldn't find my ColecoVision, but I found my Atari, man. Found my Atari and started playing my old games, and that's how I entertained myself. So I didn't go to school that Thursday, I didn't go that Friday, I didn't go, I think I went Monday, and then I missed like another 2 days the next week. You know, I just tried to spread it out. I didn't want to see anybody. I mean, I was just ashamed, because on top of that, I had the kind of friends that reminded me how fucked up my head was. And it was fucked up, man. That's the worst haircut I've ever had in my life, man. And I'm telling you, the only solace I could find was playing Pitfall, Combat, you know, Adventure, some of the other games, just going over and over. And this is the time of arcades too, guys, and I wasn't even going to the liquor store or anything like that. I didn't want to be seen. I was, you know, looking back at it, right? Now everybody says, oh, you know, depression this and depression that, right? Everybody, especially when they're e-begging, they become depressed. You know, and looking back at it, I was depressed, man. My hair was my identity, you know, it was like my superpower. Everybody knew I had awesome hair. Even between the old man cringe community, now I'm still one of the few guys that has hair. So I've been blessed all over the years, man. But at this time, man, if it wasn't for the Atari, and if it wasn't for the fact that I still had it, I'm telling you, I don't know what the hell I would have done. I thought my life was over. I mean, I was that depressed. I thought, like, this is it. Like, I'm never gonna get out of this. Like, girls are never gonna talk to me. This is it. And I'm telling you, man, it was one of the worst times in high school for me, except for my freshman year was even more fucked up. And I'll tell you about that later. But finally, after 3 weeks, came back out. Now it was okay to fight another day. But man, was I sure glad to have my Atari back then, man.
New videos every Monday and Sunday. Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Gen X Gamer. Remember to like and subscribe, click that notification bell, and remember, never ever be afraid to be happy. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.